So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 16 of our season 4 on F1 Manager 23. Now if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch that one because it was a 1-2 for Andretti Cadillac. Lando Norris finishing in P1, Pierre Gasly in P2. We had an epic last lap battle and my word, it is looking rather good in both championships. If we have a look at the constructors standings, we're on 595 points. We're 170 points in front of Red Bull, and on the driver standings wise, Lando Norris is leading his teammate by 9 points. Max Verstappen on 261. We are looking rather clear at this moment in time in both championships. Very exciting indeed, it must be said. This weekend we head to Singapore, 63 laps around here. Lando Norris holds the lap record last year. Will he manage to do it again? I certainly hope so. Safety cars always have chance of happening around here. Car attributes, low speed cornering is absolutely crucial, and the expected strategy normally is a two-stop. You can try the one-stop as well, of course. It all depends on how the safety cars break on the day. Not too much else to bring you up to date. I'll just show you the car parts development. We are updating a new chassis, rear wing and suspension at this moment in time. We are going all in on this final season, both championships of course. So all that being said, I'm going to get through practice and I will see you in qualifying for the Singapore Grand Prix. Here we are then, ladies and gentlemen, final flying laps in Q3, and as you can see, Lando Norris has stayed in. He did a stonking first lap, and I wanted to save a set of tyres for the race as well. Pierre Gasly goes across the line. It's only good enough for P5, but if we have a look as we fast forward to the end, that first lap from Lando Norris was absolute magic under pressure. And Lando Norris is on pole for tomorrow's Singapore Grand Prix. Max Verstappen in P2. Checo Perez has a grid penalty, as does Esteban Ocon for replacing engine components. So it's going to be an interesting race. Let's get to the strategy. Right then, guys, we've got to split the strategies due to the tyre allocations. So let's have a look. Lando Norris, if we have a look at his tyres, he got 2 fresh sets of mediums and a fresh set of softs. So that made sense to go soft, medium, medium. He hasn't got that second set of soft compound tyres to go on to. Still looks a very decent race strategy for Lando, who's starting on pole position, remember. If we have a little look at Pierre Gasly, he has got 2 fresh sets of soft compound tyres, but only 1 fresh set of mediums. Of course, that means that we are going to start on the softs, go on to the mediums, and then the softs towards the end. P1, P4, let's get to 5 red lights.
Final checks are being carried out on the grid, and it won't be long until we get underway. And for Lando Norris, this is another chance to see what he can do in this car.
They've got a fantastic opportunity starting on pole, but can they carry it through to the end?
And it looks like we're good to go. We're just moments away from the Singapore Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go. Lando Norris is the man we are watching because we can see Max Verstappen is on the hard compounder tyre, and into turn 1, Lando Norris manages to just about hold on. Max Verstappen keeping his nose in there, but there goes Lando Norris around the outside of Max Verstappen, and we would expect that Lando Norris should be able to break away from that Red Bull, of course, on the hard compounder tyre, and then we can push on from there. Pierre Gasly at the start here is racing alongside a Red Bull as well, and that Red Bull is George Russell, and he's going to have to make the moves earlier while he's on that soft compound tyre, trying to get past George Russell, but Norris leads from Verstappen, and he's got to break the DRS. We've had a crash already, and that is Carlos Sainz in the Audi. He was in P8. He was doing so well, Carlos Sainz. Then he's just carried on. He spun around, and he was fortunate not to collect anyone else as well. Carlos Sainz very disappointed there. It's not caused the safety car, unbelievably. I mean, it's early doors in this Grand Prix, and we can see this cameraman getting all the good shots of the despondent Audi team, but yellow flag, it's not resulted in a safety car, and Lando Norris is now pushing on away from Max Verstappen. Pierre Gasly looking to attack George Russell and get in front of that Red Bull. And coming on to lap 5, Pierre Gasly's finally got past the Red Bull of George Russell. I'm not too concerned. I reckon Pierre Gasly's got a good chance today of making up these positions and possibly getting another 1-2 for Andretti Cadillac. As we can see, the fighting is still going on, but Pierre Gasly is now past him, and we are going to tell him now to push on and try and catch up with the next 2 cars in front, them being Piastri and Verstappen. Lando Norris 4.7 seconds ahead of Verstappen on lap 5. My word, he's quick. You join us back on lap 10, and it must be said, Lando Norris is 10 seconds in front of Max Verstappen. We are just taking it a little bit easier on the tyres now. Piastri and Verstappen still fighting. Gasly in behind him in P4, not really making the inroads which he wants to do. Early doors here, Pierre Gasly cooped up behind these two cars, but this buffer of Verstappen, he's just a moving roadblock at the moment, and it is frustrating Pierre Gasly at this moment in time. George Russell's in P5, 4 seconds back. It's very spaced out, it must be said, around Singapore. Perez in P6, Leclerc in P7, then comes Tsunoda in P8, Albon in P9, and Zhou Guanyu in P10. Right at the back is Carlos Sainz, 43 seconds behind a Hugo Boss, and they may as well retire the car because that rear wing is not looking very good, is it, ladies and gentlemen? We've had a crash on circuit once again, and this time it's a Hugo Boss of Nico Hülkenberg. Now, a safety car would have played into our hands beautifully because we are just about ready to pit. I mean, that is quite a bad way. He stopped it and then carried on into the wall. Yeah, we would have probably liked a safety car at this moment in time, and this guy here has just had enough, hasn't he? This guy has seen enough. He's tapping him on the shoulder saying, my God, it's bad, this team, isn't it? But if we have a little look now, 27 seconds is the predicted stop time. We're going to come out behind Porsche, Albon and Tsunoda if we pit. So we're just pushing Lando Norris on a little bit now, trying to get him in front of this pack of cars. We're going to go really aggressive, then go onto the medium compounder tyre. Pierre Gasly's waiting a little bit longer at the moment in P4. He's just dropped away from Max Verstappen. 27 seconds for him will take him to 40 seconds. So he's going to come out behind a lot of cars as well. It's just managing traffic at this moment. And on lap 19, Lando Norris is coming into the pits. Now, we reckon he's going to filter out behind Charles Leclerc and be in front of Yuki Tsunoda. So he should find a nice gap here, should Lando Norris, as he comes trundling in to the pit lane at this moment in time. And Pierre Gasly's coming in as well, because Pierre Gasly's also got quite a nice gap to get into, should this be a decent pit stop. 3.5 seconds for Lando, and in comes trundling Pierre Gasly as well. We are pitting both cars on the same lap because we reckon Pierre Gasly's going to get a nice bit of clean air. I think it's in front of Lawson and behind Zhou. Let's see if we get another decent pit stop here. 3.1 seconds, not bad at all. So where has Lando Norris come out? Yuki Tsunoda just coming around turn 1. Lando Norris in to clean air. Beautiful work from the team. Now where is Pierre Gasly going to come out? Hamilton's pit, Bottas has pit, Lawson's still miles back, and Pierre Gasly is just going to come out behind Zhou Guanyu, but again in a nice bit of clean air. That's been a good set of pit stops from the Andretti boys on lap 20. Verstappen, new race leader. And our two drivers have got to do some overtaking now, and the first one to do some is Pierre Gasly. Lovely overtake on Alexander Albon in that Vodafone Mercedes, slowing it down beautifully. He's got the supreme grip on this medium compounder tyre, and Pierre Gasly is now up into P9. Lando Norris on the back of Charles Leclerc and George Russell. George Russell possibly doing his teammates a little favour here, but Lando Norris is looking very racing. I would expect to see possibly Leclerc and Russell coming in the next few laps, but Lando Norris could do a clear in one, if not both, of these cars in front of him. Lando Norris could do a clear in one, if not both of the cars in front of him. Well, he cleared one and then he got the other because George Russell couldn't cope with him, and Lando Norris is now back into P4. He's past the two hard compound tyre runners, and Lando Norris is looking every bit like he's going to win this Grand Prix. We just turned him onto attack mode for a second, and now he's got a 6-second gap to race into and catch up on the back of Checo Perez. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly now has just got past Esteban Ocon, and he's now on the back of tail Porsche. Once he clears Porsche, he's then got a nice run of clean air in front of him. Lap 24. And on lap 25, Pierre Gasly certainly has cleared him. Tail Porsche has got no answer to it. It's a lovely move from Pierre. He knows he's fighting with Lando for a title here. He got stuck behind Max Verstappen, but Pierre Gasly now can push away and try and catch up to these cars in front. You've got to fancy an Andretti 1-2 today, but both cars doing their utmost at the moment to just get in clean air and overtake cars. Lap 26, we've got a couple of the hard compound runners coming in, and the first one of which is George Russell. That looked a very slick pit stop. I'd love to see our guys do that, and whatever time that were, it just looked very, very slick indeed. Pierre Gasly sets the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris is now only 4 seconds behind Max Verstappen. He's nearly closed up a pit stop. Has Lando Norris. He can afford to be a little bit more aggressive on these tyres than Pierre Gasly can, because Gasly is going onto the softs towards the end. Lap 26, Verstappen and Perez still not pit. Norris closing in. Lap 29, Lando Norris has caught up on the pit stop. He's now overtaken Max Verstappen on track. Lovely work. I mean, Verstappen nearly tags him there, to be fair, but Lando Norris, we saw some fantastic respect for these guys, between these guys at the Miami Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen then, as you could see, came into the pits, and in comes Max Verstappen for the soft compounder tyre. Now, that would suggest that's a 2-stop for Max Verstappen, which if it is, that's a very, very interesting 2-stop. Perez comes out as well now. Where is Piastri? Piastri coming down the start-finish straight. Piastri has pit onto the soft compounder tyre, and he's going to come out in front of both Perez and Verstappen. There is a safety car, I'm guessing. No, just a yellow flag. Let's have a look at what's just happened there to cause that yellow flag. It's Lewis Hamilton running wide. Let's have a look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari running in P11. Just carries straight on. We know Lewis Hamilton don't mind doing that sometimes in the right situations. Lewis Hamilton down in P11 at this moment. As we've had the pit stops, we will have a full rundown. I don't think we've got many more people to pit, so it's Norris and Gasly, P1 and P2, Piastri in P3, then comes Perez, Leclerc, Ocon in P6 is probably the one that's yet to pit, Russell and Verstappen P7 and 8, and Tsunoda and Bottas in P9 and 10. Hamilton running outside of the points, as are both Haas's at the moment, and Alexander Albon. Now, Oscar Piastri has been looking incredibly racy in the last few moments because he's now just overtaken Pierre Gasly, and as we can see, Checo Perez has as well. These McLarens are looking mighty at the moment, just as they are in real life at this moment in time. But Oscar Piastri up into P2, and Checo Perez is now up into P3. We also see, as we just cut back to the live action, Piastri and Perez both past Pierre Gasly, who's dropped back a little bit. Not quite performing on the medium compound tyre at the moment. He's got Verstappen on the soft compound behind him. Gasly has got to go quite a way on these medium compound tyres, but will be racing towards the end. It's 14 seconds the gap between Norris and Perez at the moment. Lando Norris in a league of his own. Lap 38, we've seen this coming. Max Verstappen on that soft compounder tyre. Again, I'm not too concerned because we're going to be incredibly good towards the end. But Pierre Gasly getting overtaken by Max Verstappen into turn 1. He keeps his nose in, but to no avail. Max Verstappen now up into P4, I believe that is now for Max Verstappen as we just cut back. But he certainly is. He's in P4. Gasly in P5, but he's got to make these tyres last till around lap 42, 43. So Pierre Gasly holding on for the softs at the end. Lando Norris's lead has been cut now on by Checo Perez down to 8 seconds. Lando Norris just got to be aware of these two McLarens. Lap 42, Lando Norris is in to the pits. Now we have seen a little gap that we reckon we can get him out into behind George Russell and in front of Charles Leclerc. Should we manage to do this, of course, that would be absolutely ideal, but we need a good stop from the team. Is it going to be a good stop? It looks pretty slick. It looks a decent stop. 3.1 seconds. We will take that all day long. Now, Russell is in P6. He's just coming round the final corner. And then Charles Leclerc yet to come round the final corner. Now, where is Lando Norris going to trundle out here? Where is George Russell? George Russell now goes into turn 1. Lando Norris out in P6. That's worked well for Lando. He can now push on these tyres and we can really go towards the end. Pierre Gasly will be coming in the next lap or so. And on lap 44, one lap later, in comes Pierre Gasly again. We think we've found a nice little gap to get Pierre out into. He's going to come out, I would suggest, behind Porsche. But once he does that, then it should be all well and good that he can just get past Leclerc and move on. We've just seen Lando Norris overtake George Russell. Is it a decent stop for the Gasman? It's not bad again, 3.1 seconds. Consistent, if not unspectacular, on the pit stops this weekend in Singapore. Let's have a quick look at George Russell getting overtaken by Lando Norris. He stood no chance at all, did he? Lando Norris, beautiful work round the outside of turn 1, and we will take that all day long. Lando Norris back on the charge for Andretti Cadillac. He's got a few more overtakes to make at this moment in time, but of course the cars in front of him have got to pit again, including Piastri, Verstappen and Perez. Gasly comes out, Leclerc's into the pits as well. Gasly is now on the quicker tyre. This is going to be very interesting indeed. Lap 44, we have got 19 laps to go. It's going to be a very interesting end. Lap 45, Checo Perez is in to the pits. Now, we have seen McLaren have some bad pit stops this season, it must be said. So we're just going to watch this one with a little bit of interest because Checo Perez has been very, very quick today, as he has been in the last couple of Grand Prix. Now, will Checo Perez get a decent pit stop here? Let's have a look as he trundles into the pit lane. It looks decent from the McLaren team. It's not decent from the McLaren team. And this is hurting Checo Perez massively. Now, where is Pierre Gasly? Pierre Gasly's just coming round the final corner. he may still get out in front of Pierre Gasly, and he does. But Pierre Gasly now right on the back of Oscar Piastri. He's just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Norris now just 6 seconds behind Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen, lap 48, into the pits onto a set of fresh soft compound tyres. He's got 15 laps to negotiate on those soft compound tyres. Pierre Gasly's the car in front of him, who's trying to make headway on Piastri and Perez, but can't seem to keep up. Pierre Gasly's not having the easiest of weekends here. P4 is looking the maximum at the moment. Lando Norris looks like he's got this one at a canter, but work to do for Pierre.
Take a look now.
I was just going to say there's not been too much happening, but Max Verstappen has been creeping ever closer to Pierre Gasly, and what he's managed to do is he's managed to get past the Gasman now. Max Verstappen up into P4. We've sort of saw this coming, it must be said. Now the key is here. Can Pierre Gasly manage to stick with Max Verstappen? We are going to give him the opportunity to do so. We're going to deploy on the ERS and try and keep up with Max, but Max looks like he's got the pace over Pierre today. Lando Norris has got 5 laps to go. He looks like he's got this one comfortably. He's just negotiating traffic, but Gasly's got to keep up with Pierre. Gasly's got to keep up with Verstappen, my apologies. Verstappen's just 3 seconds behind Piastri. Last lap of the Grand Prix, and as you can see, Verstappen and Piastri are having a right ding-dong battle, but it's Lando Norris who started the final lap. Perez and Piastri are P2 and 3. It's another good showing for McLaren. Lando Norris has been sublime today. He's kept everything in check, but we are going to focus. If we just switch back to the map, Verstappen and Piastri is the battle we are going to focus on here, because this is the battle for P3. It's the final podium spot, and we can see Max Verstappen is stalking Oscar Piastri. Let's have a little look back to the television camera. We can see Piastri's tyres are dead and buried, and Max Verstappen is attacking Piastri now. Can he get past him? This could be absolutely crucial in terms of the championship, because Max Verstappen is chasing down the 2 Andrettis in the driver's standings. Will he manage to get past Oscar Piastri, or will the Australian, of course, manage to stay on the podium? It would be a fantastic result for McLaren if he could. Now Verstappen is giving it absolutely everything, stoking that McLaren. Lando Norris is comfortably winning. Perez has got the fastest lap in P2, fair play to him. Gasly's tyres are about done and dusted. We are just going to tell him to go light on the tyres and bring the car home now. But Verstappen, look how close and look how much more confidence he is on the brakes at this moment in time. Verstappen pulls to the right-hand side. Piastri looks like his race is run. Verstappen with the DRS down the inside, and Max Verstappen takes that final podium position going into sector 3, and that should be all she wrote. Piastri's tyres are absolutely dead. It's a simply lovely, just a lovely from Lando Norris. He's absolutely loving his time at Andretti Cadillac at the moment, but as we can see, Max Verstappen will come round the final corner, and he will make 3rd position here in the Singapore Grand Prix. And then we're now going to focus on Pierre Gasly, who comes round the final couple of corners, and it is P5 for the Gasman. Lando Norris, league of his own. Let's get to the podium.
What a remarkable drive by Lando Norris today.
It was a truly excellent win, with everything working together for the team and driver.
Oh, that's a wonderful scene. The team getting their first chance to congratulate their driver on a job well done. Lando Norris certainly loves the podium, heading up there now to celebrate again.
It almost feels like it doesn't need saying after a 7th win, but another stunning performance today.
Stunning performance once again. Verstappen looks pretty pleased with himself, but Lando Norris, do we think he's enjoying this champagne? He certainly is, and that is another fantastic win for Lando and Andretti Cadillac. Let's make no bones about it. Checo Perez is driver of the day, gaining 9 positions. Fantastic from him. Max Verstappen P3, Piastri P4, Pierre Gasly in P5, then came Russell, Leclerc, Tsunoda, 4-position gain, Teo Pourchaire and Esteban Ocon. Aston Martin did rather well on the day in Singapore. Driver standings wise, Lando Norris extends his lead at the top. He's on 328 points now, is the British driver. Pierre Gasly in P2. He is now 25 points behind his teammate, and Max Verstappen is in P3. He's closing up to Pierre a little bit. We don't like to see that. Constructors standings wise, Andretti Cadillac 631. We extend our lead over Red Bull. It can't be long until we win this championship now. McLaren a comfortable P3, Ferrari P4, and the little battle between Mercedes and Haas carries on. 37 plays 33 in favour of Mercedes. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed that one. I hope you're enjoying this season. Please do like and subscribe, and I shall see you on the next episode. Ta-ra!